viewers, my name is Darlington Okoka and I wish to welcome you to Delwit YouTube channel. For the past 2 days, on Tuesday precisely, 5th July 2022, we woke up to the news of Fidelity Bank and Afrexim Bank, which is an African Export-Import Bank, taking over some distribution companies in Nigeria, such as the Kano Disco, the Kaduna Disco, and the Benin Disco. While the federal government, through the Public Bureau Enterprise and the National Electricity Regulatory Commission (NEC), took over Port Harcourt Disco and Ibadan Disco. Ibadan Disco has been taken over by AMCO in December 2021, but the interim board and interim MD were also chosen or appointed yesterday before yesterday. So why did this arise? What was the necessity what was the cause that necessitated the sudden takeover of the management staff and the board chairman of this distribution company? You could recall that in 2013, during the unbundling of PHCN, we had 11 distribution companies, we had 6 generating companies, and one transmission company, which is wholly owned by the federal government, the TCM. Now, during this period, the assets of all these distribution companies were enormous, so the cost was quite big, that it would be very difficult for a particular individual or a particular company to cough out such amount of money to purchase outrightly these investments. So what they had to do, most of them decided to go to banks to take loans for them to acquire these properties or these assets and investments. Along the line, since 2013 till now, that's over 9 years, some of these distribution companies have not been able to pay up these loans, and they've been struggling technically wise and financially wise. They've been struggling. So you would remember that sometime last year, December precisely, the Abuja Distribution Company was taken over by United Bank of Africa (UBA) as a result of this same incident, incapacitation financially and technically. So as we speak currently, UBA is the current owner of Abuja Distribution Company. So I think Fidelity Bank is also taking the same step to ensure that they acquire their financial investments of the loans taken by these distribution companies. So, but we know precisely too that the federal government has 40% stake in all the distribution companies during the initial privatization. That is why the Fidelity Bank and Afrexim Bank could not go directly to acquire this property without the knowledge of this NEC and BPE. So BPE is actually representing the federal government's stake, 40% stake, while NEC is the regulatory body. So Fidelity Bank has written to them and they've given their assent. So what they're actually doing is the collateralization shares of these discos. It has been automatically taken over by the Fidelity Bank. So it has been approved by BPE, it has been approved by NEC. So the board managers, immediately after this takeover, Fidelity Bank appointed their own board chairmen and members of board, and that is one of the prerequisites that was written in the takeover agreement or contractual agreement. So during this contractual agreement, the consequences are that the bank's actions are contractual. So it was an agreement that was signed. So they're actually exercising their rights of lenders to investors. It's their right the Fidelity Bank is actually exhibiting. It's also a commercial intervention to avert insolvencies, because if this has not happened, maybe we'll just wake up one day and discover that the disco has gone back to nowhere. So the third one also is a legal obligation to take over the board, in which the Fidelity Bank has done so. If you discover the board and its members, we have BDC. BDC is headed by the chairman KC Akuma, which was appointed by Fidelity Bank, and we have Adeola Ijose and Charles Owera as members. Kaduna Disco, we have Abbas Jega as chairman, while Aminu Abubakar and Malin Ngoyi as members. While Kano Disco, we have Hassan Tuko as chairman and Nelson Aheku Gabriel Suleiman as members. So these were appointed by Fidelity Bank. But because the federal government has 40% stake, they also appointed their own independent directors. So for BEDC, they have Yomi Adeyemi. For Kaduna Disco, they have Umar Abdullahi. While for Kano Disco, they had Bashar Gwando. So these are necessary steps that is required to be taken whenever you're taking over a company or you're taking over an asset being owed by an investor to the bank. So, but in the interim, after this appointment, BPE also approved the appointment of managing director. So, in as much as they're having a board chairman, for day-to-day activities of the company to ensure that consumers of electricity don't feel the pinch. Like most of us at home now, we have lights in our house. So, despite what is going on, it's not affected. So, in the wisdom of NEC, they've appointed managing directors for this sudden taking over in this schools. For BDC, we have the appointment of Henry Ajabowa for BDC. For Kano Disco, we have Ahmad Dangana, while for Kaduna Disco, we have Yusuf Yahaya. So, but Yusuf Yahaya was the former MD, so he was reappointed. Reasons best known to NEC and BP, they were reappointed as the MD. So these MDs will see to the day-to-day activities of the disco. Now, for Port Harcourt and Ibadan, these two discos, the appointment just came into simultaneously so that they were, I'm sure what people wanted to do is that when the announcement is going, it will just go once and for all. Port Harcourt Disco is not being taken over because they are owning a bank, but that it's being taken over to mitigate insolvency. So they are struggling financially, they are struggling technically. So the as a watchdog, they've seen that Port Harcourt might one day go into insolvency. So that is why they are proacting to ensure that they don't actually fall into such insolvency. So Port Harcourt Disco is has its own the appointed person Nuweru as the MD. While for Ibadan Disco, like I said last time, Amcon has taken over Ibadan. So the NEC and BP, what they're just reiterating is that to ensure that the functionality takes place, they also appointed Kingsley Achife to head as the MD. Right, this is not the first time distribution companies being taken over by the federal government. We know that sometime 2 years back, Yola Disco has been taken over, Abuja Disco has also been taken over. This is making a total of 7 distribution companies out of the 11 distribution companies that have been taken over since the privatization. So be rest assured, the federal government has assured us that it's not a permanent takeover by the shares of these discos by the bank. So NEC and BP are going to come up with a time frame to ensure that they're not taking over in perpetuity. There will be a stipulated time frame for them. But for now, these are the management team that is going to be heading these distribution companies. And they've also assured us that there will be no disruption of power, there will be no disruption of activities, everything will continue normal, just the management and the running day-to-day running of activities that has changed hands. So I believe I've been able to educate you and to inform you of what is going on in the distribution sector of our power. Be rest assured that more changes will continue to go in as much as the distribution companies are not living up to their expectation. Thank you for coming to our channel and do enjoy your day.